Good day, beautiful people. Today is May 1st, so I'm challenging myself to start my posting journey today. I am going to do what's as accessible as possible so that I don't get in my way. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am recovering from burnout. I am recovering from being tired, exhausted, depleted. I am working on getting my joy back, getting my whimsy back, reconnecting to establishing bliss. I am graduating in 13 days from a doctoral in social work program that I've been matriculating through for the last 3 years. I am preparing to leave my very comfortable, passion-driven, also well-paying job in 30 days, 31 days, whatever June 1st is. And I'll be preparing for a 2-month global sabbatical, okay? I want to share my reflections around my experience in burnout, which is crazy because as a mental health clinician, I would teach about burnout a lot because I know the signs, I know how to be mindful of it. And I've always been able to avoid the full-blown burnout experience because I could sense, it's coming, so I could always intervene. But this is the first time we really got there, okay? And it was a bit of burnout, and what I have learned is called moral injury, which is a psychological and physical experience that happens when you experience some type of moral hurt, pain, disappointment, disregard, psychological abuse, in part projected from leadership figures, managerial figures, people that are seen as folks who are supposed to protect you, care for you, support you. And I've experienced this in work, in school, and in personal life, as well as in just the general political climate right now. And so it's the experience of that psychological harm plus the exertion of energy and high productivity with my doctoral pursuit, in addition to working full-time and managing a private practice part-time, that just kind of, collectively just weighed on your girl, okay? To the point that when I submitted my last manuscript, it's like I took a breather, exhale, but then the next day I felt like I was in a complete state of paralysis. And what's crazy is, as somebody who's experienced depression all her life, from very severe episodes to mild episodes, I know what depression looks like and the paralysis that could come with that. As somebody who's experienced immense loss physically, my mother has passed, my grandfather has passed. Now I've experienced more loss, but those are the most detrimental forms of loss for me. I know what the physiological symptoms of grief look like. The brain fog, paralysis. And this felt different because there was no melancholy. There was no sadness. I just couldn't move. I just couldn't think. And even when I was trying to put thoughts together, even when I was trying to organize something, trying to do duties at work, it's like my brain was just like, And it was like that probably like the first 6 weeks. So let's say through the end of March. And what it required was a lot of nothingness, because I also didn't really have a choice. Like, I had to just chill. I had to just rest. But what was so crazy was just sitting and resting in the dark, in the daytime, just nothing. And it felt wild to me because I do intentionally take moments of mindfulness to be still, to meditate, to be in silence. But this was, I'm not going to say it wasn't a choice, but this was more so like, girl, you can't do nothing right now. You want to try to put something together. You want to try to write something. You want to try to think about something, but like, it was kind of just like that, you know? So I decided I had to take a pause. I have to take a pause. I cannot try to plan this next season without being in a state of restoration. I just cannot. And so I did not plan a sabbatical, but my body told me, girl, I don't know what you about to do. I don't know what you about to do. So I had the thought of always doing like a post-graduation trip, maybe for like 2 weeks. And I said, I'm going to have to do longer than that. And the challenge was, I could feel that I wanted to do longer than that, but I couldn't even think about what I was going to do, because as a person that has high executive functioning when it comes to planning, organizing, and logistical, you know, I could not imagine thinking of dates and timelines and this, that, and the other. So I kind of just kept putting it in my journal. Okay, I'm going to do a sabbatical. I kept talking about it to a close group of friends. And then when it seemed like my brain came back online, even just a little bit, then I started putting a little bit of effort. And as I started putting effort in planning, which really was like, okay, well, I know I want to go to this place. What are some other places I would want to go to? And I started making a list of those kind of places. But then I did something called an astrocartography reading, which is basically putting your birth chart against the map. And it gave me countries, locations that would be ideal for a forever home, for love and relationships, for success in career, for a spiritual journey, and even your past life. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to some of these places, especially the places that are important for or aligned with forever home. Because when I think about home, I think of a place. Okay, no, I think of comfort. I think of feeling secure. And that's what I want right now, because how the burnout has left me, it has left me like discombobulated, disassociated. So that's how I started building out my list. I booked a cruise, which hit 2 places. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere from there. And I also do want to make sure I get my national park road tripping on. So I got that. So I essentially have 4 locations and 2-month time span. And so as I told a couple of friends, folks were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go on this journey with you. I hope that you vlog this. I hope that you capture this. And I said, you know what? You just might be right. When I was in my 20s, I used to always capture my adventures, and then I stopped because then travel content creation really became a thing, and it felt like, as a normal person, not trying to do that is weird, because then my people wouldn't see my stuff because algorithms started pushing, specialized content, right? But I decided I've never really tapped into YouTube, and I'm just going to vlog and share this process, this countdown to graduation, this countdown to my sabbatical, and even my experiences on my sabbatical. My hope is to capture life even beyond the next 3 months. But this is where I'm starting. I'm starting from a place of reflection, a place of recovery, a place of connection. But this is not just to share my story. This is also for me, because I kind of became a recluse in a way, kind of got in a bubble and got comfortable with being invisible. And in some ways, yes, I'm there, I'm out there, I'm talking about things in real time, in real life. The thing that I know is I'm not supposed to be invisible because of my passion, because what I've been called to do. And also, I just don't have to be. And so this is also me challenging myself to be consistent in showing up and capturing my life. So part of this is like a video diary for me. I journal a lot, and when I travel and go on adventures, I'm always recording myself, and I want to hold space for that through this, because it is always such a joy to be able to go back to photos, to go back to videos and be like, dang, you really thought that, or man, you still believe that, in a beautiful way, right? So part of this is for you, to share with you. If you have experienced burnout, if you are in this space of I need a break, or I need to find ways to take care of myself, or I need to, blow up my life and do something different, I thankfully am not nervous anymore, because I'm really just flowing in the belief and certainty that everything is going to be amazing on the other side of this. But I was fucking scared. I'm not gonna be lying. I was nervous because I'm a planner. I'm a person that can foresee, the possibilities. And with my brain just kind of being on froze, I couldn't see nothing. I couldn't connect to nothing. But also just being in this space of, well, most people, when they're rounding up their journey in academia, they're making their next steps to enter academia as faculty, as administration. And where I am between the exhaustion and the moral injury is, I know that I want to contribute to academia, but I don't think that I'm psychologically or emotionally ready to do it right now while I'm still healing through the moral injury. Now, even 2 months from now, heck, I could be in a different place. But I think part of the experience of the moral injury and the burnout that I really experienced was cynicism. Feeling like fuck social work, fuck academia, because people do not embody the values that they made a commitment to embodying. People are unkind, people are unsupportive, people project their own bitterness. People like to talk about changing communities and changing the world, but when it comes to what it takes to embody that change, like it doesn't go past their ego. And that pissed me off. It pissed me off, and it made me think, could I be in this field in the way that I want to be? You know, because before going in academia, there was no limits for me in my brain. You know, I'm real time doing stuff with communities, with organizations, not even fucking with people in academia like that, right? Because I had a master's, and, you know, elitism, masters ain't nothing, right? Like the people that make the most moves or shape the fields the most are typically the people that have doctorates, because PhDs are people who add knowledge to an industry, right, or to a field. Practitioners are people who implement. But I knew I wanted to be both. I want to be a scholar practitioner, right? Because I knew, well, there's things that I experience and other practitioners experience that aren't even captured in literature. You know what I mean? Across the board. And as somebody who's very passionate about ecological justice, ecotherapy, you know, nature-based traditions and practices, and having interacted with other practitioners, I'm just like, we are doing this work and it's not being captured. And as a Black practitioner, that was even more motivation for me to be a Black scholar practitioner, advancing knowledge that support programs, activities, policies, interventions for Black communities. And that is why I did what I did and will continue to do what I do. Now, when we get to the point of burnout and deciding, well, what's the next steps? I just know I don't want any limitation on me. And I don't know how much academia will put limitation on me. But I know that what I've witnessed in terms of bureaucracy and political dynamics on campuses and in the field, it's just not, it doesn't feel like my spirit is completely drawn to that. I am drawn to mentoring students. I am drawn to supporting students. I am drawn to helping educate and help challenge the thought processes that students have as potential scholars, practitioners, but I don't really want to deal with all the extraness. And it makes me feel like I have to find time to connect with institutions that would feel safe and would feel like home, or connect to practitioners that are, or scholars that are associated with those type of institutions. And so I've kind of landed on, I don't know what's going to happen. I know what I want to do. I don't know what the timing looks like. It could be on the other side of this sabbatical. It could be next year. It could be in years. Me doing this sabbatical and kind of blowing up my life is offering me this opportunity to not only lean into uncertainty, but also to explore the possibility of what if. I think when we make decisions from a place of I need this or I have to have this right now, it may not always be our ideals, right? And for me, I'm in a season of why not? Let's just go for it. Let's just try it. Let's go back to believing that the biggest thing can happen. I feel like going into academia, it almost, I don't know, made my vision smaller, right? Because before academia, I had global dreams, dreams of global impact. Even I would say the first year and a half, I was still connected to those. And then the more conferences that I attended, the more conversations I had, I think it began to limit my my foresight, and it really became, okay, well, where can I teach? And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I also started disconnecting from just being a dreamer, having global possibilities, having universal possibilities in my mind. And part of that was the burnout, because my creative capabilities kind of just went on shutdown. And so as my executive faculties are coming back, my excitement is starting to come back. My dreaming is starting to come back. I can visualize a possible this is starting to come back. And so I want to lean into that wonder. I want to lean into that curiosity. Yes, I would love to make impact in academia, continue researching, and really support the next generation or generations to come of scholar practitioners. That's there. That's not going away. But also, the people that are outside of the ivory tower, those are the people I also want to connect with, that I want to build community with, that I want to grow with, that I want to learn from, and also share what I've learned. Because for me, it's not about I did this so I just have this expertise. I feel like expertise is manifested in so many ways, and I just want to lock arms with a lot of people across industries that care about the earth, that care about earth justice, that care about wellness, that care about earth-focused wellness. Those are my people. Those are my people. People that care about ancestral practices and decolonizing what healing processes look like. These are my people, and these are the people that I'm hoping to connect with during this time. Not only while I'm doing these videos, but while I'm on my travels. You know, I'm unapologetically African-centered. I am an eco-womanist. I am what some would call a black feminist. So my priority is always going to be the care and liberation of the black woman, right? But I love humans. I love freedom. I love liberation. And I love talking about how we can deconstruct the impacts of patriarchy and release misogyny and release misogynoir and release internalized white supremacy ideals and, belief systems, and release internalized racism. Because all these things, on top of the chokehold that capitalism has on us, really leads people into these destructive patterns in life, in relationships. It leads us into these paths that create a sense of imprisonment. And there's so many people that have to make decisions because they don't have space to dream. They don't have space to think about the possibilities. And I know what that feels like, but also my positioning is a little bit different because I am not married yet, or I don't have children yet, if yet is a possibility in my life. But I still know what it means to go against a plan, or to go against stability, or to go against certainty. So this journey, these reflections, as you can see, are going to be very nuanced, right? Because it's part of challenging what you think is supposed to happen. It's partially like a spiritual journey in embracing the unknown, but operating from a place of faith and knowingness that the best is to come and great things are on the other side of the uncertainty. It's part wellness oriented because I'll be talking about you trusting your body, you knowing when your body is telling you, hey, do this, don't do this, I need rest. I'm really into herbalism I'm into incorporating creativity as acts of self-care and rejuvenation, and so I'll be talking about that. I have a whole list of things that I've been wanting to do that I haven't done, and I want to be able to bring that into here. We'll be talking about how these systems shape us and what we think is possible in our lives, but how they limit us, and really like pushing back on that. But all in all, I want to be able to have discussion. I want to be able to share. Yes, I want to be able to capture. Yes, I want to be able to look back on this, but I also want to build community. I want to connect with people who think about the possibilities, or people who are afraid to think about the possibilities, and even talk about what is the fear, what is interrupting you. Because I feel like when we challenge what we think we're supposed to do, or we push back on the formulas that life or people in life or society has given us, there's always some kind of gift, and you can do it even on a small scale. It doesn't have to be blowing up your life. It could be like you only wear black and you're going to start wearing color, right? You only, do certain things, and like you're going to challenge yourself to step outside of that box, So this is about embracing bliss in whatever form that it comes to you, for you. I'm a yapper, as you see. But I just welcome you, and I want to know about you. What's something that you want to challenge in your life? What's something that you want to let go? What is a form of bliss that you want to welcome in your life? And also, are there any particular topics that you want me to talk about? I mean, as I'm preparing the next month for my sabbatical, it's going to be more reflection, but I'll be taking you on adventures, starting June 2nd. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I am, but once I complete the journey, I'm going to give details. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to connecting with you.